Okay.
Yes, Yaakov, there's Reb Aaron has something entertainment to do about the millet. I didn't understand it, but he didn't repeat it. So.
Okay.
I'll be honest,
I guess I lost.
I didn't know what he said.
I guess I lost out.
Peretz is a connection to Eretz Yisrael. When the millet is based when the millet is seen in Yerushalayim. So when you look out the moon here.
No, I understand, but I didn't hear what you said. You look outside by the millet when?
But you look at it, if they announce, Aaron Kaplan announces the millet is going to be 6 o'clock and 4 kalakim after 6 Friday morning in Yerushalayim. So you look at it 7 hours before that over here, and 7 hours. You look out when it's 6 in the morning in Yerushalayim, and you see the moon over here, and you know it's you have a connection to. I have a connection to Eretz Yisrael with that. That's all.
Okay. I didn't understand what you were saying.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. I hear it too, still. Is it an easy daf? Totally wants to know if it's an easy daf.
Definitely not. Definitely not. No question.
Could have lied.
I'm not even going to get on here and say that there's something geschmack about it.
No siree.
I don't know.
Is that Kiva on tonight?
Hopefully tomorrow.
Reb Chaim says that when he learned this block for the 286th time, it was a geschmack.
The truth is the Tahaim on Amud Beis. I have my usual time on the difficulties of learning Shas.
So we have Tahaim on Amud Beis today.
No, it's a continuation of Tahaim. After you finally get a lot of Tahaim, it finally decides to tell you what the tumah of Tahaim is.
Yaakov, I didn't want to say it's not so hard to understand what Tahaim is.
What do you mean?
Nobody knows there's a grave.
We don't want to spoil the whole night.
Pink Erev Pesach, the archaeologists that all the guys are demonstrating against and they're throwing bricks at them, they find the mace in that Pink Erev Pesach.
Correct.
That
and
morning they find the mace. That already 5,000 people drove on Golden Mayer Boulevard to get to Yerushalayim.
And now you wiped out the korban Pesach for the last
so that's
50
the
years.
case. So,
for the last 50 years, you wiped everything out.
Right,
okay.
that's the
Yeah. It's yeah. No, but I'm saying, but the Gemara doesn't decide to tell this to you till the end of the sugya. Right? Okay, that's one thing. Okay, let's not keep the olam in suspense. Let's yeah. Okay, so Zokting, we're on the bottom of Pei Amud Beis. Right? The tumos tahaim. So we were discussing tumos tahaim, which essentially tumos tahaim means, right? The tumos tahaim, basically it's a tumah. We're going to say on Amud Beis that it's a tumah that nobody knew about. It was like so far-fetched, this tumah. Right? So, fine. So we'll get to. But tumos tahaim l'chayra means it's only for somebody that's a mace. It's a mace that we didn't know about, right? Like Rabbanan just said the case where all of a sudden somebody dug up the ground and there you go, everybody, which is probably most of Eretz Yisrael at this point, right? That there's mason all over the place, right? But you dig it up and then all of a sudden you see that there's a mace under there, right? But what about tumah ziva? Okay, right? Ziva we said is a gonorrhea, whatever it is, some sort of something that comes out of the man that's not supposed to. Right. So now, how do you have that as a tahaim? Right. Tahaim meaning if you find out later that there was a mace under the ground, or you found out there was a sheretz that somebody touched a sheretz or whatever it was. But how do you have that with zav? So tahaim of tumah zav is that normally the way zav works is if a man sees once, he becomes tamei for that day. Right. He's toivel and then he waits till the evening, becomes tar. If he sees twice, then he needs a shiva nekiyim, just like a woman. But a woman needs to see 3 times in order to have shiva nekiyim. Again, why they had to say a man twice and a woman 3 times? Ich weiß nicht, right? But that's the way it is. Yeah. So again, so a man is waiting his shiva nekiyim, and now he's on his 7th day. He has no idea if he's gonna see zav, the tumah zav later or not. So that would be like a big doubt. There's no way for him to know if it's going to come out or not. Right? So that would be the equivalent of tumas tahaim, where it's just a safek. And you may find out later that, it came out. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a badika cloth on him the whole time. Right? He can go to the bathroom an hour after the Shiva Nikiyim, right? And then he could see that it came out or something like that. So the question is there such a concept of tumas tahaim for zav? Right, second line up from the bottom. But tumas tahaim de ziva, right? Rabbi Yosef yesterday at the end of the Gemara said, there is no tumas tahaim by zav. So Gemara is asking on there, tumas tahaim de ziva loy meratze. The tzitz is not going to work for tumas tahaim. Again, the tzitz for any korban that ends up being tamei, the tzitz ends up covering it basically, and it ends up becoming a kosher korban. Right? Fine. So Vatani Rabbi Yosi Yom Shemeres Yom Keneged Yom. Okay, so now we need a little bit more background. So for the end of Shaivim, at least we can discuss this. So the way it works by a woman there's nida and ziva by a woman. We consider all our women nowadays zivas, zavahs. That's why they need shiva nekiyim. Really, the din of nida is that a woman becomes a nida and she waits 7 days. Does not have to be clean days, and she goes to the mikveh right after the 7th day. As long as she can check herself and she stopped bleeding, she goes to the mikveh 7 days. After those 7 days, she's tahira. If she sees dam for 1 day, then she has to wait like a zav. She has to wait that day, and then she becomes tahira. She sees dam 2 days, she also has to wait a day. She sees dam 3 days, then she has to wait shiva nekiyim.
Why did we institute the shiva nekiyim then?
Oh, we didn't. The women did it.
We're machmir because we're machmir
Yes.
and everything.
Yeah, but it's really the women. The reason is very simple, because it really comes from once there was a gezerah that, meaning there's only 5 types of dam that are matama, right? Once we lost the Messiah because we were never thrown all over the world, so we lost the Messiah which damim they are. So we have to be chayshid that when a woman gets a regular period, let's say it lasts 5-6 days.
Why does one thing have to do with the other? Why is
it a lot?
missing around?
Listen, it has a lot to do with it, because now that a woman gets a period, it could very well be that the first 5 days of blood are dam tahar. She's not a nida, because that's the blood.
Why does us going around and gullus, whatever it is?
Because we lost the Messiah. We lost the Messiah for the 5 types of blood. Why did we lose it? Because when you're far away from rabbis, you have nobody to teach you.
And nobody continued it on?
They didn't. I mean, everybody was running away, and they just ran, and that's it. So then there was nobody to teach them. They didn't have WhatsApp and all that type of stuff, right?
Or Zoom.
It's not.
Or Zoom.
I don't know if you know if you remember the person I'm talking about, but it's Maisa Shahaya. I sent someone to you who was in college, who was married in college in a wacky out-of-state place. And they said they hadn't asked the Shaila for 2 years until they figured out they could text you.
Oh yeah, I have no recollection, but yeah, that's right. So Enochanami said they didn't have that back then. So basically, what the halacha was like this was that the first 5 days of the period could have been dam tahar. When did she see dam tamei? The last blood she saw. So memela, that's when nida started, not from the beginning of the period. So therefore, you have to wait 6 more days of clean. It has to be 6 days of clean, because we're assuming that the last blood she saw, it's a safek deraisa, was that the last blood she saw was the beginning of nida. So that means that day counts as 1, then 6 more days.
Are they testing with the nida thing every day?
That's that when it says that David HaMelech in brachas, his hands were dirty with blood, that's because it was mamish. Until you got a confirmation that your period was the right color, then you were tahar. So there was a lot more checking that went on back then. The way I understand it, there was a lot more checking that went on back then.
Wow,
crazy. So when you think about it, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, so you'd have to be chashuv for the last day. So then you have to wait 6 clean days, not 7, 6, because you need the first day counts. So then the lady said, once we're waiting 6 clean days because we have no idea which blood is tamei, which is not. They said, you know what? We'll just wait 7 clean days, 1 more day, and we don't have to keep track of ziva, nida, all that type of stuff. That's the way essentially went.
Well, why does Fardim hold 4 then?
That has nothing. That's a total difference. Total different. There's no shaykhs to this. That has to do with the shvu.
If it's a deraisa, then why is 5? If it's 5, seems to be for the deraisa.
No shaykhs. That has the 5 and 7 nothing to do with deraisa. Nothing. It's no shaykhs. I would talk about it now, but we got to finish the daf. So first we got to start the daf, right? But anyways, so normally a woman sees dam, she's tamei that day. Second day, she's going to be tamei for another day. But once she sees 3 days, then she's going to wait shiva nikiyim. Okay, so now that's the way a woman that sees in the abnormal time. That's called shemeres yom keneged yom. She watches one day opposite another day. So again, Vatanya Rabbi Yosi yom shemeres yom keneged yom. This is a woman who saw once after her days of nida, so she has to wait another day. Sheshachtu, right? And so they shechted for her, and they threw the blood onto the mizbeach, right? B'sheni shela, on the second day that she did it, right? V'achar kach rasa, and then again she saw. Einoi cheles, she does not eat, she can't eat. Meaning, so they shechted it for her after her second day, when she was still not a zavah. Then she saw. So now she's not allowed to eat the korban, right? She's not allowed to eat from the korban Pesach, because she's going to be tamei. U'ptura milasas Pesach sheni, and she's potter from Pesach sheni, right? My timer. So why is she potter from Pesach sheni? She was tamei. She couldn't eat the korban Pesach. Lav mishum de maratza tzitz. Isn't it because the tzitz was maratza for her? The tzitz covered her, even though she wasn't right in the. And this is l'chayret the tumos tahaim, because she didn't know when they shechted the korban Pesach for her and they was zarik for her. She didn't see dam yet. She only saw the dam later. So the korban was brought halachically correctly. It was brought correctly, right? So, but yet we still say that the tzitz is maratza. So you see that tumos tahaim works for zavah. So Amri, so the Gemara answers, Amri loy mishum tekasava Rav Yosi mekana labahi matama. No, Rav Yosi has a different shita that she only becomes tamei mikana lahaba, not lemafreya. Meaning when she sees on this third day, does that kick back everything that she saw that she touched till then as tamei? Rav Yosi says no, only from there and on she's tamei. So the korban was taka brought for her before she was tamei, right? Before she became a zavah, so therefore it's good. The Gemara asks on this, Vatanya Rabbi Yosi Yomer, Zav bal shtei riyos, of Zav who saw, now we're back to a man, a Zav who saw shtei riyos, sheshachtu v'zar kola b'shvi shaloi. So on his 7th day, he's ready to go, he's ready to roll, right? He's hoping that he's not going to see anymore. He had his 7 clean days, and he's hoping. But then what happened is they shechted for him, and they did this rika, same case except by the male, and then he saw. And the same thing with a woman who's seeing one day and watching one day because of that. That they shechted and they was zarik for on her second day. And after they shechted the korban Pesach, she saw anything they sat on, right? Or lemafreya goes retroactive, and they're potter from doing Pesach sheni. So you see that it does go backwards. So it must be it's the tzitz that covers them for the korban Pesach. So when it answers Amri, my lemafreya midirabanan. No, mafreya means it's midirabanan, meaning midiraisa everything is tar. Midirabanan they made a chumrah that anything retroactive is tamei. Right? So that's how we're answering the steer. That again, according to Rabbi Yosi, midiraisa only things mikano laba from when she sees that third time and on, that's when she becomes tamei. But the mafreya is only midirabanan. Even Rabbi Yosi agrees that something that's matama lemafreya midirabanan. The Tanya Rabbi Yosi Aimer avol shara b'shvi shalai, a zav that sees on his 7th clean day. It's gonna knock off everything before it. Right? It says no, it's not going to knock everything away. It's just going to ruin that day. Right? Which sounds like it means he needs one more clean day. Meaning, according to Rabbi Yochanan, seemingly the 7 clean days don't have to be consecutive. You can have one day, and then it goes back. So the Gemara says, if you say that he's matama things retroactive, afilu kulu nistar, right? So then it should be saisa all the days. And if it's mikano labo, so that day should count too, because half that day he saw as clean, mixed as a yom kakulai, it should count. No, it means it doesn't cancel not even one day, right? Meaning he holds that even if once you get to the seventh day, is a very interesting opinion. Once you get to the seventh clean day and you have a little bit clean in the morning, even if you see later on, that's no problem, according to Rabbi Yochanan. Right? A massive chiddush, right? And Rabbi Yosi, and he told him, Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yosi holds like you, right? Rabbi Oshi told Rabbi Yochanan, he holds like you. But Rabbi Yosi, I'm matam mishkav moshe l'mafreya. But Rabbi Yosi says that it's matam mishkav moshe l'mafreya, and Rabbi Oshi said not like that. Elalav shma mino matam l'mafreya midirabanan. So it must be that he holds really it doesn't make the tumah retroactive, but it's midirabanan shma mino. So that's what we hear from this. By the way, just agav, once we were discussing nida, this is the reason why, right? Well, we're learning these halachas. So on the seventh day, what happens? He goes to the mikvah, the zav goes to the mikvah on the seventh day. Then he becomes tar after shkia, right? So how come our women can't go to the mikvah on the seventh day? Right? This is an important zach. This comes up. I was handling it right before the shir now. It comes up multiple times in a week, especially nowadays where people are traveling and there's weddings and there's this and that. And it's right. So why can a woman go to the mikvah during the day and then she waits for night? So the answer is because we're afraid that even after she goes to the mikvah, right, and then the couple will be together, and then during the day she's going to see dam again, and it's going to retroactively knock off the whole 7 clean days, which according to Rabbi Yochanan seemingly wouldn't be an issue, right? But the mitzvah, the way we paskin is that you need 7 consecutive days. So therefore, if the woman goes during the day, we're afraid she's going to see dam later on, which is why women cannot go during the 7th day. Now you say, okay, so why do you got to wait till tzeis? Right? That's a chashash rachak. What do you have to wait to tzeis? And the answer is, and many women are not aware of this because it does come up. Enochanami, the svardim will let you go to the mikveh right before shkia, as long as you come back after tzeis or close to tzeis. The svardim will be mekel, and even Ashkenazim will allow. Who says you have to be machmer for the latest tzeis? This is a vchomer on top of a vchomer, right? So, right, because really she can go to the mikveh during the day. So a lot of times when a woman, let's say a chasana, she has a sibling's chasana, and the mikveh in the winter, you can go theoretically. I tell them they can go 15 minutes after shkia because the guy.
Why don't we just let them do a badika after the day? No, we don't. We're afraid that the couple's going to be together and then she's going to see dam. So it's a badika. No, Rabban, you're muted. No, badika before they're together.
Even so, what happens if she sees afterwards?
Why don't you say?
Why can't you say that the next day?
Right, and Achanam we do, but at some
doesn't end.
So then
because once she does 7 full days, it's over.
Yeah, but if she's together with her husband and then she sees dam, it's the same thing.
No, right. So what are you saying?
So
no, it doesn't go retroactive.
It never end. Not retroactive, but you could be nida again.
No, because
again, so she becomes a nida again. Fine.
Right, but it's a nida from scratch. It's not going to kill her 7 clean days. If she sees during the 7 clean days, then it knocks off the whole thing. Rabban, well, you're asking according to we don't pass like Rabbi Yochanan mixes a yom kekula. That's if we pass like
but we do. I mean, I obviously don't know when you use it and when you don't use it.
By Avelis, we do say it.
Yeah.
Right, by Avelis, we say it.
And that's a deraisa.
Not the 7th day. The first day. You're right. You're right. The first day taka. You're right. The first
and
day
we say mixes yom kekula the first day also.
We do.
They sit down in the base of Chaim for 3 minutes.
Correct. Enochanami. Right. You're right. You're right. There we do say that would be a deraisa. L'chayr, that's a deraisa. Yeah, but for here,
technically we say it according to Rabbi Yochanan too. We say it. We go like Rabbi Yochanan by tefillah.
What?
Doesn't make Rabbi Yochanan's what?
Rabbi Yochanan is saying if she sees dam on the 7th day, it's not a problem.
No, I'm saying we don't say like Rabbi Yochanan, but we do say technically mixes yom kekula is
yes, we do.
Meikra din, she can do tefillah.
Yes, 100% right. Right, very good. Right, Rabbi, we do say that. But etzim, once she starts a 7th clean day, she can go to the mikveh, and then she needs heter shemesh like every other tumah, right? But we can't do it because we're afraid that the couple will be together on the 7th day in the afternoon, which is also not shver. But then she sees dam. which
By
according to the
Avelis,
Mishnah would be what?
by Avelis, there's a similar thing. The Shiva, the seventh day, we get up right away. Mitzvah Yom Kippur. When it comes to Mincha, if the Avil, who's technically his seventh day, is there with someone in Shloshim, he gets Kedima.
He gets
He's
Kedima.
That's
Shiva.
a big deal. Kedima to the Amud, big deal. Big
No,
deal.
but the din is because
Come
it's
on,
Halacha. He's in Shiva.
that's not negated.
Okay. I'm sorry you don't like Halacha so much, but that's the Halacha. The
No,
Halacha is
but
he's in
that's
Shiva.
not garnish. Come on,
He gets
please.
like above who?
The guy on Shiva by Mincha has
above-
Kedima
Above a guy in Shloshim?
Yes.
Over
Because
his
he's still in
yard site,
Shiva.
over everything.
He's still in Shiva. He's
Yeah.
still in Shiva.
Uh-huh.
Right. Okay. And yeah, it's an interesting
You get
thing.
it anyways when you get
Whatever
out.
it is, but
The
that's
first
the
time you go to
reason.
shul,
That
you get
bottom
it
line
anyways.
is that's the reason why. Okay, so then you have a different kasha. So why can a woman go to the mikvah on the 8th day? The 8th day is no chashash, right? Let's say she pushes it off, right? So why can't she go to the mikvah on the 8th day? There's none of this chashash if she's going to see dam and be saiser, shouldn't be a problem. So there we have one of the most wild gezeras in all of halacha, which is that the daughter is going to see her going to the mikvah on the 8th day, which is a kasha from a ma'isa stamazoi. Okay, why isn't she in school? That's not for me to answer, right? Anyway, right? So the daughter is going to see, and she's going to think you go to the mikvah during the day, right? So Mamela, they made a gezerah, never go to the mikvah during the day. Okay, this whatever. Okay, that's one of the more fascinating gezeras in Shulchan Aruch. Anyways, but that's the sugya of Miktzah Yom Kippur on the 7th day. Fine. Okay, so Ul Rabbi Yosi, back in the Gemara, about halfway down. Ul Rabbi Yosi, Hashad Amar Mikana Labahu Matame Lameis. So according to Rabbi Yosi, what do we say in the Brisa? Hashad the Amar Mikana Labahu Matame. He's Matame from here and on. Lameis Bilvad, but only to a mace. So what does that mean? Lumute Mai. Right? It's only to a mace Bilvad. He's Matame Mikana Labahu. So what's that excluding? Nifshat mina, that's why don't we say pshat, and this goes back to the kasha we had in yesterday's daf. Nifshat mina the kohen, it's talking about the kohen, right? We had a whole shaila whether the tzitzis meratze by tumah of the tahaim, right? This big safek tumah by the balabas or also by the kohen. V'hutru loy tumah is tahaim, and we're matter the tumah of the tahaim. Fine. So then, that's meaning why don't we say that that's what it is, and we matter tumah the tahaim on the kohen, which was the kash from yesterday. So Amri Laila and Babailim, who were Pesach. No, it's talking about the owners, and the owners are the korban Pesach. And that Tumas Kahaim works. Because Savar ain't Shaycht and Rizark on tamei sheretz. And he holds that we don't do Shchita and Zrika on tamei sheretz. Itzrich Lemaute, and that's why we need to exclude it from Tumas Atahaim, that there's no Tumas Atahaim by sheretz. Saying what it says, El Rabbi Yosi, Zavah Gemura Hechi Mishkachasla. Now there's a new thing. So now, according to Rabbi Yosi, how do you ever have a zavah gemura, right? Meaning a zavah gemura that she sees 3 days in a row. He's only matama mikano lahaba, right? And if she sees a partially part of a clean day, mixas ayim kakulai, right? And then that's called a new riyah. So how does she ever have a zavah gemura of 3 days in a row? So Gemara says b'shefas. It's talking about where she bleeds straight for 3 days. And that's the only time Rabbi Yosi would have somebody calling a zavah gedola. Or she sees 2 days bein hashmashas, meaning she sees at the end of the day going into the next day, and then for two consecutive days. Those are the only way he would get a zavah gedola. What's the problem?
Doesn't the Gemara need to ask on the first answer that it's impossible? Shefas, so long.
Could be. I don't remember who was in this context. I don't know what
in this context. The shefas of nida is impossible. This is zava, but even so,
I don't know what it means.
A woman would die if she loses that much blood.
Correct, but I don't know if it means shefas to that extent. It just means that it never slows up. There's never a break.
Like today. Yeah,
like sort of like today. Yeah. Fine. Okay. Shtickle do sugya, not a okay. Well, the same sugya, but a new thing. Boy, Rabbi Yosef, kohen amaratza betamid. So what about a kohen who's in charge of being maratza for the tamid, right? The kohen who's in charge of being marked with the korban tamid. Hutter like tumos atahaim aloi. So let's say he has a tumos atahaim. right? Which again, we don't know exactly what tumos the time is yet till on base. But does the kohen who's doing the korban tamid have tumos the time or not? Imtim salamer kohen amaratze but korban saying. So if you're going to say that the kohen who's maratze and korban saying, and then in parentheses this shall nazar v'oise pesach hutraloi tumah tumas atahaim. So if you're going to say that the kohen that's dealing with nazar and Isa Pesach is metama, is we're matar his tumas atahaim. So kohen amaratza but tamid mai. What about the kohen that works with a korban tamid? Mi amrina kigaminri tumas atahaim Pesach. We only said that this special heter of tumas atahaim by the korban Pesach, but tamid like gemiri by a tamid we didn't learn it out. I did my yalav tamid by Pesach, or do we learn out tamid from Pesach? And just like by Pesach, if there's this special kula for this tumas atahaim, so to by tamid there's a special kula by tumas atahaim. So my Rabba kal vchomer. Rabba says it's a kal vchomer. Maba makim shaloi hutrulei tumah yedua, hutrulei tumas atahaim, in a place where he vade know he's tamei, which is korban Pesach, and we don't allow it, right? Somebody who's tamei cannot bring the korban Pesach, but tumas atahaim he's allowed to. Right, again, where we don't allow him to be makar of the korban if he has a vadai tumah, but we do allow him to have tumas atahaim. So makom shehutrulei tumah yedua, but in a place where we do allow tumah yedua, which is tamid, right? We said the tumah is daicha korban tamid. Einay din shehutrulei tumas atahaim isn't in a kal vchomer that for sure we're going to allow tumas atahaim. Right, again, korban Pesach. We don't allow vadai tumah, but we do allow tumas atahaim. So korban tamid that we allow vadai tumah, of course we should allow tumas atahaim. So Amri, so they say midainina and kal vchomer me halacha. Right, we said that this tumas atahaim is halacha lmoshe misinai. Can we learn out of kal vchomer from halacha lmoshe misinai? But Tanya Amar le Rabbi Elazar Akiva etzem kisaira halacha. This that. A nazir can't become tamei to a bone. Really, a nazir only cannot become tamei to a full dead body. What about a bone? So a bone that's the size of a barley. So that's halacha lmoshe misinai. Revius dam. What about if there's a revius dam next to the nazir or in the same house or whatever it is? Kal vchomer. That's a kal vchomer, right? So ve'ein don a kal vchomer me halacha. We don't don a kal vchomer from halacha, so it can't be. Elamarava yolif mayadai mi Pesach. We learn out mayadai from Pesach. That's Gzeira Shava. That just like by Pesach we say tumas atahaim, we matter the tumas atahaim. So therefore by korban tamid we also allow it, right? So our Gershon was waiting for you to ask. What I mean, Gzeira Shava is also who says you can learn out of Gzeira Shava from a halacha l'moshe misinai? Right? Kal vchomer, why? If you can't learn out of kal vchomer, who says you can learn out of Gzeira Shava?
Gzeira Shava is not a choice.
What? It's still one of the good, but it's still one of the limudim. It's not one of the beferish limudim.
No, but once you have the Gzeira Shava, then any halacha you have, you learn.
Right.
At least if it's Muslim Mishnei Tzadim.
Okay, but the Lamaisa, it's an extracurricular limud.
Yeah, but it's there already. It's previously there. So if you have
it as the Messiah, yeah. Okay, go to the Gemara. It says, "Tumas atahaim gufa heichi ksiva." Where does it say tumas atahaim? Right? Where does the whole concept of tumas atahaim come from? Right now, Rashi says, "What kind of question?" We just said it's halacha l'moshe misinai. Right? So it's very interesting. Rashi says that this Gemara happened before the previous Gemara, right? So that's this. So it's like out of order almost. Ein mukdam u'mocher b'Gemara, I guess. I don't know, but this Gemara really happened before we decided that's halacha l'moshe misinai. So let's see. So v'tumas hatahaim gufa heicha ksiva. Where was it written? Amar Rebbe Eliezer, Amar Krov v'chiyamos meis alav. It says when a person is going to die, olav on him or next to him, right? B'machveres olav. It means where it's very clear, right? The mechuver is a lashon of clear. It's right. Rashi says that it's brura to him. It's clear to him that he's tamei, meaning the mace is olav, right? If a mace is on you, it's very clear that you're tamei, right? Ashkechan nazir. Okay, so then we find that by nazir. Isa Pesach Midol, and how do we know that it has to be a very
Yaakov,
clear
where's
cut?
Simon, didn't we have where you can roll the baby off the dead body or something?
Oh, yeah, right. Very good. That was Simon's thing, right? The buses.
So you guys made it into my thing, no matter how weird that was.
Simon, at least we remember. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm unforgettable, but yeah, I got it.
Very good, parrots. Okay, so Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amakra, b'derech rechaika lochem. It says when it's a distance from you, right? If the dead will be distance from you, machveres lochem. It has to be clear to you that it's tumah. So that's where it says it by Pesach. Reb Shimon Lakish says kiderech. It has to be like the way ma derech begoloi. When you're traveling on a road, it's goloi. It's revealed to you. You know where you driving. Af tumah nami begoloi. So tumah also is in. It has to be open, right? So that's how we know that. So again, tumah satahaim is a tumah that's not clear to you. Right, like you said, you dug up the road for whatever you're doing archaeological dig, and then you say, "Hey, there's a mace under there." Nobody had any idea, so that's why it's less of a strict tumah because it wasn't very clear, it wasn't apparent. So Gemara asks, so they asked the kasha from a brisa, "Ezo tumas hatahaim." What's the tumah of the time?
What's the time limit? You find it 7 years later?
I guess, yeah. That doesn't seem like I haven't seen it. You saw anything about a time limit?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm saying they do an archaeological dig, and 19 years later they find out that you were there, and it's something you become tamei retroactively.
I guess, but we're saying that we would be matter the korban Pesach and Nazir and korban tamid, right? All the major stuff we're gonna say that tzitz was meratza anyways. It's only for the minor stuff that it would be a problem. Right, so that's but I don't know what the time. The sug is really in Nazir also. So Bezos Hashem, we get there. It's a long ways off, but we get.
I'll hold on for a couple of years.
It's gonna be more than a couple of years. Yeah, like figure out 5 years, 6 years near the end. Yeah. It's the end of Nazir. Is the end of Kodshim, middle of Kodshim, isn't it? Isn't it?
Not Nezikin.
Is Nazir and Nezikin?
Nadarim. Where's Nadarim? After
Nadarim is Nezikin. Nadarim is Nezikin. Right. Oh, so no.
Nazir right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Right. It's in Nezikin. Okay. It's still not so far off. Yeah, you're right. It's a couple of years. It's a couple of years. Anyways. Right. So Meisvei Ezu Tumas Hatahaim. What's considered Tumas Hatahaim? Koshali Hikrba Echad B'Saif Ha'olam. A very interesting thing. That it's. I'm sorry, I said it's not interesting, Daf. Right? That it's even somebody at the other end of the world doesn't know about it. Right? So that's hikr ba echad b'sayfa olam ein zeh tumas hatahaim. If one guy knows about this tumah, then it's not considered tumas hatahaim. So if there's one archaeologist somewhere in Yehupitz who knows that there's a mace under there, then it's not tumas hatahaim. I don't know how you would know that, but that's the first pshat. Rabbi Eliezer to Amar b'machveres alav.
So then, if a guy goes over it, he doesn't get the tzitz, and then
he doesn't have right. If he does it right,
there's one guy that he doesn't even knows about it.
Correct. Correct. So the Rabbi Eliezer to Amar b'machveres alav. So according to Rabbi Eliezer, says that it has to be clear to you ad yadahu. So we're asking, it shouldn't be other people, it should be him. Right, it's Nashim, not Nezikin. Right, it's Nashim. I said Nezikin. It's Nashim. Thank you. The Rabbi Yochanan to Amar Lochem, and Rabbi Yochanan says that it's you. So then Loch b'machveres Lochem. It's got to be clear to you. Adi Yoda but train until Lochem is plural. Right, so that's two people. Reb Shimon ben Lakish to Amar Kederach Adi Yoda Kulei Alma. The whole world needs to know a street. Whatever it is, it's not one person. Right? So how do you understand this brisa? Ella tumos hatahaim hilchos gemiri la halacha. The tumos hatahaim you can't learn out from the pasukim. It's halacha lmoshe misinai. The cross asmachta ba'almahu, and the passuk is asmachta ba'alma. But we're not learning it out from the passuk. But it's halacha lmoshe misinai. Fine. Amar mar bar Rav Ashi loishanu ela shenoi deloy la'achar zrika. When did you find out from this archaeological dig that there was tumah there? That's only if you found out about it after the blood is already thrown in the mizbeach. The chi is darik dam shaper is darik, because when the blood was thrown, everybody assumed that this person was tar. But if you found out about this hidden tumah before the zrika, then it doesn't take effect because it wasn't hidden tumah anymore, right? Then it's already was known.
So then you shouldn't be throwing this. You shouldn't be doing this zrika.
Correct, yeah, because he's regular tamei, right? If this archaeological dig gets found out before you sprinkle the blood on the mizbeach, so then what are you doing? It's regular tumah. It's no longer safek tumah. It's only if after it's the havamina. The Gemara is going to change the pshat, but in the havamina, yeah, it's not going to be mutter until it's not going to be considered tumos at tahim once everybody knows about it, right? It has to be hidden from everybody, right? So then Gemara asks, "Meis ve'amaitzi meis." Here's another case where if you just touch this brisa, right? Hamaitze mace mushkov l'rochvay shel derech. If you find a mace laying to the width of the road, meaning you have your road, let's say it's 5 feet wide, and you have a mace. Where's this mace? It's laying onto the width of the derech, right? So l'truma tameh. If you're a kohen and a kohen went on this street, so he's tameh because the dead lay across the road. The nazir v'isa pesach tar, but for a nazir and isa pesach is tar, right? V'chol tamei v'tar lahabo. And anytime it says tamei and tar, it means that he is tahar. It's not pshat that he was tar; he is tar. Now, can I ask, where is this? Is this mace hidden or in the open? Right? I'm saying read the brisa. Hamaitzi mace mushkav l'rachvish oderech l'chuma. I'm sorry,
it's a mace buried underneath the road.
Where does it say this mace is buried? Now, I'm not saying I'm the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but I'm looking at this brisa and I'm saying there's a mace laying across the road.
So Rashi says it.
Where's Rashi say it?
I don't know. In English, he says Rashi.
So the art scroll says it. And as chatoy ani masker ayoim. I'm still looking at this brisa. I can't make heads or tails out of what the Gemara wants with this. I look at the art scroll. The art scroll says it was hidden under the road. Okay. Should I have figured that out on my own? It wasn't
hidden under the road?
It was.
No, I'm saying if it wasn't hidden under the road, then what
that's
would be
tumah. That's regular tumah.
Oh, exactly. So it has to be.
I said I'm not the brightest bulb in the chandelier.
Rashi makes it tougher. The first part of Rashi makes it sound like it's not under the road.
Why? Who of our
Rashi says, "Who of our sham?" He passed there.
Not possible that he touched it. That he didn't touch it.
Yeah.
And a chanami. So I'm looking at this case. You're right, Uri. It has to be right. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. But I'm a very literal person. So when I look at something, I say, okay, I don't know what's going on over here.
I'm playing morning quarterback, so I don't, for me, I also wouldn't have known. I'm just
saying, like, whatever. So, I guess I have a chip on my shoulder. Yeah, what are you saying?
So learning it's a superhighway. That's 11 lanes, and the mace is in the lane. The guy never sees it. How does he see it? He's doing 80. You don't see the mace.
Yeah, but we're gonna see that if there's a possibility that he didn't touch it, then he's not going to be tamei. Has to be across the road. Can't be an 11. Now it could be that there's other highways. This and that. He doesn't know which one he went on, whatever it is. But it has to be that it's Ramesh laying across, and obviously it's hidden. That has to be the pshat.
But isn't a road? And I understand that. They didn't lay cement back in the day, but they did have cobblestones and all that stuff that went across the road. Wouldn't it be covered as if you were in like a kever with a top on it?
Oh, very good, Simon. You mechamed the Gemara. The Gemara is going to discuss that in a couple of lines. Very good, very good. Anyways, so we'll get to that after the 2 dots. Whatever it is, for the Gemara asking a kasha, right? That you see that they are tahar even after they walked over that area, right? Because the word tahar means they are tahar right now in the present. Right? Even though you found out that there was a mace buried under the road, we still call them tahar. So Eliyitmar Hachiyitmar. So the Gemara Mamash makes an about face and changes the pshat. Omar Mar Baravashi, Loitema Noidalay La'achar Zrikahu Demaratza. You don't even have to say that if he knows about it after Zrika, he's going to ratza. Aval Noidalay Lafnei Zrika Loy Maratza. But if he knows about it and before the zrika, it's not meratza. Ela filu noidaloi lefnei zrika meratza. Even if you knew about this tumas hatahaim and you found out that there was a mace on the road that the kohen was traveling to, or the baal was traveling to, and you found that there was a mace, you can still be zayrik the dam, and the mizbeh and the tzitz is going to be meratza. Fine. So now the Gemara actually discusses examples of what this tumas hatahaim is. So gufa. Hamadzi mace, mushkav l'rach v'shel derech. So if you find a mace laying across the road, well, again, not laying, he's buried under the road, right? L'truma tameh. So you're tamei the truma. L'nazir v'ayis pesach tar. If a nazir and a pesach is tar, like we said, because you have the heter of tumas hatahaim. That's only if there's no place to pass. But if there would theoretically be a place to pass, because it's a safek. You don't know, maybe, meaning, let's say, like you said, let's say it's 11-lane highway, and the mace was laying across one lane. So it's very possible that you were in the passing lane when you passed that mace, and then you're okay, right?
Then it's not hidden.
What? No, it is hidden.
Then it's not hidden.
No, it is hidden. It's hidden. You just found out about it later. Same case. It's hidden, and you found out about it later. But if it had, a few lanes that it was possible for you to get through, then it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
This is because safek tumah b'shus rabin. So
l'chayra. I would say, yeah. Right? Yes, yes, that's it. That's what Rashi says. That's it, 100%. But man, then another case, but another disclaimer, or not disclaimer, whatever the word is. But medvar murim shematzu shalim. That's only if you find the mace to be complete. Aval meshubar u'mefuruk. But if the mace is broken and broken apart, tar. Why? Shem bein aprokim avar. Maybe you passed in between the limbs. Ubekever. But if it's a kever, meaning if it's in a box, afilu. Mishubar u'mefuruk tamei, even if it's mishubar u'mefuruk tamei, b'nei kever mitzarfei, because the kever combines all the limbs to make it like one. And then when did we say that's when you're walking with your feet? Avotan. But if you're carrying something, or if you're riding in a wagon or something like that, then you tamei. Lefisha mahalach peraglov efshe shelo yiga v'lo yal, because maybe the person walking, maybe he didn't touch it, and maybe he didn't create a roof over it.
We're saying touching it, even though he didn't touch it.
You're right, but he's touching the ground that's touching the mace. That's what it is, right? But here's an avotan rachov. But if you're carrying something or you're riding on something, it's not possible that you're not going to touch it and you're not going to create an oil over it, right? So that's sort of what you were saying, Simon, that there's a space, and then it's not going to. Well, it's okay. That's one. But this is all talking about tumas hatahaim. But if everybody knows that there's tumah there, then everybody is tamei, right? Tumas hatahaim. And what is a tumas hatahaim? Yeah. Like we said before, as long as nobody in the end of the world was makirit. But if somebody in the farthest area of the world knows that there's a mace buried there, then it's not considered tumas hatahaim. Fine. Matzu tamun beteven ba'afer tzrayros. Let's say you found the mace hidden in grain or dirt or rocks. Hareza tumas hatahaim. That's considered tumas hatahaim. Because how was anybody supposed to know there was a mace under there? But mayim ba'afela b'nekike haslaim. If you find it in water or in dark or in the cracks that are inside these big rocks, tumas hatahaim. That's not considered tumas hatahaim, right? Because those are possible to find. During the dark, you could find it. You can light a candle and see, right? In the water, I guess you can remove some water or look through the water and see if there's a buried person there. And also in the rocks, you can look in between the rocks. And then, of course, we're saying that we don't say tumas hatahaim only for a mace, and that's it. We don't say it for zav, and we don't say it for sheretz, like we discussed. Okay, we'll stop here.
Can I ask this concept
Go ahead.
you're talking about? of the about what explaining what the tumos tahom is, and that you have to know with a certainty that there's no one on earth that knows that this body's buried here, right?
I think the art scroll, whoever has the art scroll there, I think the art scroll says it doesn't literally mean one person. It just means that that it's not feasible for most people to even be aware of it. You know what I mean?
So the Gemara says writing.
I thought the art scroll said that. I thought I saw that in the art scroll. Anybody have that?
Yeah, I have it. It doesn't. I don't know.
You want to look?
I don't know. Somewhere there. When it says the one person in the end of the world.
That was the beginning.
Oh yeah, it says here, this does not necessarily mean that it can be demonstrated that no one on earth is aware of it. Rather, it means that the corpse is hidden in such a way that it is likely no one knows of its existence.
Right. So they said, who do they bring that from? From themselves, or?
It says, see Gemara below 30.
Simon, the man behind the curtain knows everything.
Okay, thank you.
When the Gemara says riding, it's not in a wagon. It's got to be on an animal, correct?
What do you say?
So when the Gemara says he's riding, right? It has to be on an animal. It can't be in a wagon, right?
That's what I thought. Yes. Yeah, you think
a wagon would have a tefach of open space, right, and therefore you wouldn't have the problem, right?
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. That's what I think. But what do you call it? But why, if it's on an animal, is it a vada that it's going to touch? Why is that different than a man walking?
It could be that you're making an OL with the animal the same way as a person that's carrying a burden.
Yeah, but wouldn't that also have a tefach?
It says you're making a roof over it. Yo-yo, that you're making a roof over it. Isn't that the whole point? Not just that you're touching it, that you're making a roof over it?
So then a wagon too.
The wagon. So then how does the tefach of open space work in general?
What are you saying? If
then how does the tefach of open space work in general?
Well, usually the tefach of space is under the ground, right? Meaning they bury with a space under the ground.
Okay.
So you're saying here, you mean why can
from the ground to the bottom of the wagon?
Why can any car of kohanim drive through a cemetery? Right? No?
Yeah.
I hear. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, but I hear what you're saying. So it's only walking.
Or riding on an animal. An animal doesn't create a tefach of open space. If it's I guess you're touching the animal that's, I don't know.
But the bottom of an animal blocks tumah, though.
Does it?
Yeah. He talks about his sukkah.
Right, Simon. Yes, there's something like that, right? Balichayim?
It's funny you were talking about like finding buried corpses, because it was nogea to this sugya even, like earlier in the parak, that like these kids would grow up where they knew there wasn't a body until they were like 12 and whatever it was, like this whole thing. But to go use the water, to go fill their cups with water, they would ride on a bull with a board across, because if they went one way or the other, the tumah would have hit them effectively. So they would go on these big bulls with a board across. They'd walk into the shiloach, and then they would fill the water while on top of this bull, and then they would ride back so that they wouldn't hit anything tamei on the way.
Interesting. I hear. 1 second. Where's that Gemara?
sukkah base. I don't have that Gemara in front of me.
Yeah, I saw like a photograph of that once. That's a lot of bull, but I do remember seriously. I think in one of the
Doctor, we haven't heard one of those in a while. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I think like the Mikdash Me'at, this series of Moadim. I saw a picture of that, a drawing. I can try to find it. Yeah.
Can you tell me about the Sephardim things, Yaakov, now?
Oh, the 4 days instead of the 5?
Oh,
yeah, that has nothing to do. Meaning, because if a woman excretes zera,
yeah,
for like the same way a man is tamei for 3 days for Kabbalah Satira, right? They have to stay away from each other for 3 days, 72 hours. So 72 hours is automatically 4 days, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you have to wait 4 days. Ashkenazim added on a 5th day because they thought that a man is going to be a smart aleck and sleep with his wife exactly by the shkia.
And Sephardim don't think like that, you're saying?
No, Sephardim are just...
I'm saying it's just funny that this Sephardim not trying to disagree on that. I'm saying...
Well, there's a lot of things we disagree on, but... Right. So anyway, so the Ashkenazim, because of the smart aleck who's going to try and sleep with his wife right before Shkia, she gets a period, and then he nails the 72 hours. So, but really he missed Shkia, so he's ended up doing a hefsek tara 1 day too early. So the Ashkenazim slapped him down with a fine and said, "No, we're going to add another day on just because you think you're so smart."
Slapped us all down with a fine.
Connect, and then because of so we got all slapped down with a fine.
What I'm saying is that why is there never a situation where a heter could be said 4 and 7 because it's not like it's against halacha because Sephardim hold it. This is more of a, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
What do you say? Yeah, and a chanami, we knock it down very easily. To 4 days. For some, if most women can't clear up after 4 days, but let's say
whatever. But I'm saying is,
if a woman's having infertility issues, we'll knock it down to 4 days. Moshe has a wild heter that if the guy's going to be out of town and he's going to miss mikveh day, you can knock down 5 to 4, which a lot of poskim don't agree with.
I hear you.
Right, so we do knock it down fairly often. But that's the story. Anyways, I heard that most Sephardi poskim said they have to wait 5 days anyways.
Kamaval, you said 5.
What?
Kamaval, you said they should be machmer for 5.
Yeah, did he say that's okay? So that's
It's been
Kavayim?
No.
Yeah, vchomer.
Oh, there you go. There's a Sephardi.
I'm not Sephardi.
Or Yechavid.
Basically, Sephardi.
It's either the Yabia Omer or Yechavid Das.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the story. All right.
Nice.
Fine.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a good one. Peace out. Yes.
You listen to the voice note?
I didn't listen to the voice note. I didn't read your other note. I am so behind on voice notes. That's why I tell people. You could send me voice notes, but it's yeah. Well, I'm gonna try and listen tonight. Believe it.
All right.
And I gotta look at your other note, which I forgot about, which I just reminded myself about now.
Which the voice note is the picture.
Oh, so I get a 2-for-1 deal. Okay, I get a 2-for-1. All right, that's right now. It's a bargain. All right.
You'll get another laugh when you listen to it.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Rabbi, can I call you for a shiloh now?
I got somebody. Is it quick or it's a long one?
It's like a 2-minute.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.